let's get into it. And Jonathan, I can't think of a better way to start our return to the Travis and Peel Show.
Are you gonna say it? Are you gonna bring that? Are you gonna bring that heat right now?
What a little dig deep. Yes, sir. It's Let's Dig
Deep.
Deep.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Thank you for your service, doing the Lord's work and giving us the card game of the ages. Questions for couples. Let's dig deep. You guys know the rules. We pick one of each of the three pillars of questions. We have icebreakers, we have deep questions, and deeper questions. I'm just going to pick one from the middle here. I'm going to pick one from the middle here. I'm going to pick one from the middle
And we're talking
here.
like Ron Jeremy deep, okay? Because sometimes they get in there and they might wreck the guts. Just saying.
Yeah, just
Without
all that rape that he's in trouble for. Let's you know that, right? I mean, Ron Jeremy's
he's
like
not looking. He's not looking good.
He's
either.
fucked. He's the one who's fucked.
They showed. Well, I don't know. If you got to figure, he's in jail. He's laying pipe to somebody. He's got a sweet little bitch in there, somewhere.
Well, we don't wish him the best. He's apparently a fucking
I don't know,
monster.
Do you? I mean, he's brought so much joy to all of us during our lives. I mean, we are a generation of watching Ron Jeremy. They do call us the DuckTale generation. I want to call it the Ron Jeremy generation.
Okay, so you're also going to be like, you know what, man? I still can't get enough to this day of that sweet, sweet Cosby Show. Like, you're still going to like...
Actually, I don't think I've really watched too many Ron Jeremy nudies ever, so it's just mostly he's
I'll
be
honest with you.
He's effing clown shoes.
He is a clown. I will be honest with you. I don't think I have ever in my life seen a Ron Jeremy porno. I'm going to be real.
But
I don't
we
think
have seen him on Boondock Saints.
Yeah, and his acting. I'm going to tell you
Funny.
How this man does not have 18 Oscars is beyond me. It's beyond
he has 18 inches. That's why.
Here
we go. Let's dig deep.
All right, starting off with the icebreaker. Who's your number one celebrity crush?
Ron Jeremy.
There it is. We're done. Double dose of Ron J.
Next.
Ronnie J. All right, deep. No, so celebrity crush, who that is? Mine's easy.
Okay.
I'll give you mine. Mine's super easy. Natalie Portman. Natalie
Portman.
She has always been my number one with a bullet. Number one with the bullet.
All right. Well, if we're going to go with it and off the top of my head, I mean, I've had several of them over the years, but one that still sticks with me just because is Kristen Bell.
She is great, isn't she? Like, she's beautiful. She's massively intelligent, and she'll also make you laugh. I love Kristen Bell.
And she sings her ass off.
She can sing.
It's not even from Frozen. Actually, it's from Reefer Madness. That's where I knew her vocals are from.
Right. Yeah.
And just awesome. That's really, where I fell for right there.
That's a really good one. I like Kristen Bell a lot. I think her and Dax Shepard are
power couple.
Probably my favorite celebrity couple.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, usually when the celebrity couples break up all the time and divorce, they're one of those couples, one of those very few couples that if they broke up, I'd be like, oh, that kind of sucks. Like, where's love?
Yeah.
There's no love left in the world.
I mean, he does have an addiction problem with stuff and has been going through rehab a lot recently. So,
we'll see. Well, Kristen, if you ever find yourself single, holla at your boy. We know you're a fan of the show. He's right here waiting for you. And in a year, Laura. He is going to be a slab of funky beef, and he is going to be all yours. So,
already taken, man. This meat got purchased.
Already taken. So, getting deep, what could you give a presentation on with no preparation? Aside from Ron Jeremy.
You want a presentation? I got a foot-long cold cut combo.
What could you give a presentation on with no preparation? All right. This one I'll need to dig a little deep into my brain stem.
Man, I guess I'll ramble this off. I mean, there's several things that I could talk about. There's a lot of things that I'm well versed in, but
Okay.
I could definitely go into like comic book and comic book lore. Um,
Without a presentation.
yeah, without a
With
presentation, just go off and start explaining things and going into it, and then explaining the differences between like the different variations of the comics and the reiterations that they've introduced, and then what the MCU or DCEU is compared to those comic books from what we know, and how that's just another interpretation. So yeah, I feel like I could go off about something like that aspect of, comic books because it's something that I've known since a kid, and kind of explain and talk about and thoroughly discuss in different realms. So that's definitely something I feel like I can go into.
I have a couple that I will rattle off because one kind of interchanges throughout every year that passes and everything because of the nature of the beast. But just in like the New Orleans Saints football in general, every year,
Yeah.
whatever their situation is, who's playing well, who's not playing well. Situations with coaches and whatnot, like things like that. Like I can generally rattle off just a massive diatribe on that topic. Um, when there's a couple of guys at work that we go and yeah, no one cares. There's a there is uh, there are a couple of guys at work that I meet up at a bar to watch Saints games with, a couple of Saints fans,
Which
and
is funny because I'm in New Orleans and you're on the West Coast and you're going for the Saints and I'm going for the Seahawks. But anyways,
yeah, it's not important. But yeah, a couple of guys at work, and we discuss discussing football, and they just kind of like, man, like Travis, you're just fucking like, I wouldn't have never thought about that with the Saints and stuff like that. And you just kind of like, or like they'll always bring up, hey, that thing you brought up, you were fucking right. You're absolutely right. Like I'll bring up, like I was talking about Jawan Johnson, who was like a no name tight end, and he ended up having 2 touchdowns this week. And they were like, oh shit, like you fucking called that guy like two days ago. Like you said he was going to be the man, and he's caught 2 touchdowns. And I'm like, well, I know my fucking shit. So yeah, the Saints are definitely one. And another thing I can wax on about constantly without any type of preparation is probably like the video game industry. Anything regarding that, just like video game culture, differences like pros and cons with each system. There's always an argument. You always have one douche saying that one system's better than the other, and just kind of like overall having a conversation about what makes them both work hand in hand by having both, or what you're missing if you have one versus the other, and things like that. So I could easily have conversations like that all day and not have any type of visual aid or preparation or anything like that. I just I dig that the gaming zeitgeist so much that it's just easy, natural to talk about, and I also do my research and read up on it every day. So if you know what you're talking about and you love it, it's kind of easy to just talk about it. So
yeah, you just soak it up.
just soak it up and drink it. And anything else for you on the topic of that deepness?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm the same too. Like, I'll talk about the Seahawks and give you like
Mm-hmm.
layers of Seahawk history that you don't know and start laying out statistics for you. But I feel like any good football fan should know that. If you're going to talk any smack or any mess, you better be able to back it up with history and facts about your team and what you're talking about. Rep your squad. That's all I'm
I
saying,
agree.
okay? Hashtag 12s, go Hawks.
There you go. You heard it there first. From the guy whose favorite team is Seattle, the Raiders, the 49ers, a little bit of Saints.
I
You've
root
loved
for
all
people.
those teams.
My
You've
favorite.
loved
Oh
all
no,
those
I
teams.
will. I will not digress, and I even have an explanation for that. Okay, if you want to bring it up, here we go. First off, I'm from Washington State. Okay, right outside of Seattle and Bremerton, Washington. That's my jam. That's what I grew up with. That's what I know.
And I'm with
Okay,
you.
growing
There you
up,
go.
Seattle wasn't that great of a team, and they were in the AFC. So I rooted for the other West Coast team, which during my time in the 80s was the San Francisco
Mm.
49ers. Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. I mean, how can
You
you not love that?
call yourself a
How can you
12,
not
and
love
you
that?
just
They
admitted to
in the
the
NFC
bandwagon.
South at the time, I believe. That was the division with the Saints. The Saints were in it. San Francisco
Yeah,
and New Orleans
that
were
was
going
weird.
against each other in the same
That was
division,
weird.
okay? So
Saints getting
that's what I
crushed
rooted
every
for.
fucking year.
Now, also, our rivals when we were in the AFC were the Oakland Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders,
It's weird.
and
Yeah,
then
I hate it. I
whatever
don't like it.
Raiders they wanted to become. Uh, and so when we in like 2000 went to the NFC and joined the NFC West, we became rivals with the San Francisco 49ers because they moved into that division as well.
Right.
So I had to kind of cut ties with the 49ers because home team rules all.
There
That
you go.
is your jam. That is what you rep.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders, no longer being a division rival, have always been a team that I've watched, followed, studied because they were just that. And my brother-in-law, Mike Galavati, loved the
Hi, Mike.
Raiders. So my whole entire time growing up, for the most part, he's always been there and he's always been a Raiders fan. And how do you also know like, the Raiders? You gotta love it. You know that old history of it, John Madden, everything. That's a tried and true NFL team. So always loved the Raiders too. And Jerry Rice went from the 49ers to the Raiders to the Seattle Seahawks. So, and I have a Jerry Rice jersey in every one of those. And then the Saints, just being in this area for as long as I have been, being here for like Hurricane Katrina and everything, rebuilding, Drew Brees, Jonathan Vilma. I mean, being here for the Super Bowl and just the like 4 month long party that was the 4 month Mardi Gras for the most part was fantastic. So yes, I root for these teams, and everybody else can pretty much suck ass because I think we can all agree, F the Steelers and F the Cowboys.
Yeah. I've only liked the Saints. I will only like the Saints. The closest I've ever gotten to enjoying any other football team was back in high school when, I mean, Peel and I went to the same high school that Brett Favre went to. So when Brett Favre was going through his Super Bowl wins, Super Bowl win, it was a big deal for our school.
It did
So
go to multiple Super Bowls, just only one win.
with one win, yeah. So Brett Favre just was overall celebrated because of that. So when they were in the playoffs, just kind of like our community celebrated Brett Favre playing. So it was more or less celebrating Brett Favre than it was actually celebrating the Packers. I never considered myself
I
a Packers
actively
fan.
rooted agaget them, though. I
Oh
decorated
yeah,
my cheesehead hat in high school as a 49er piece of cheese.
yeah, we worked. You and I both worked at a restaurant owned by the Favres called Favres on the Bayou, and we there was a big Brett Favre. It was Brett Favre's one of his last years as a Packer before he went off to the Jets, and they took two buses. Everybody, friends and family from Favre's on the Bayou. I happened to be off. I went on that bus and we did a road trip to the Super Bowl on two big or like Greyhound buses, and it was me and a bunch of Packer fans, and I was in my Deuce McAllister jersey, screaming my head off for the Saints. And would you believe the Saints won that game? And everybody was miserable on that ride home, and I was just all smiles. It was fantastic.
Ecstatic.
It was fantastic. So yeah, I've always rooted for Brett. My family is a friend of that family.
I respect Brett
Yeah,
and love the family.
Yeah, I have some fun Brett Favre stories. Quite a few fun Brett Favre stories. But that's the closest I've ever gotten to like any type of liking of any other team is just the Brett Favre thing. But we got pretty deep on that, but it's time to go deeper. This is a great one. Oh, this is a great one. Are you religious or spiritual?
You first or me first? You first. You first. You first.
Me first. Okay.
You first.
No, I'm not. I have had. I was religious growing up as a kid. I would have started off going to church with my parents, and then later on, like junior high and high school, hanging out with friends, like joining my friends at their churches and joining youth groups and things like that.
Yep.
When I moved to Georgia and was getting married, my wife-to-be wanted a Catholic wedding, so I had to become Catholic. wasn't a big fan of the teachings and everything at first, and I slowly got into it. And that was around the last time that I ever
How
was
does one become Catholic?
somewhat religious. Well, if you're raised Catholic, it's like years and years of schooling. But if you're an adult outside of high school and stuff like that, and you want to become Catholic, it's like 9 months of meetings and courses and stuff like that.
Yeah, like your Catholicism GED.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly that. So you can spend your entire
CED.
life. You can spend your entire life doing it, or you can go the easy route and just go to 9 months of meetings, and then you become
Who would have
become
thought?
Catholic. It's pretty simple. But no, and then there was a moment that ended everything for us. So mentally, I just kind of, I've always questioned, and I think with any faith, if you don't have questions,
You have to.
then I think that you, even if you're religious and you believe in religion, you believe in the faith, or you believe that the Bible is the Word of God, you have to question things. And if you're not, you're just, I'm sorry, like it's kind of foolish to not question certain things. Like, there's nothing wrong with challenging your faith. And if you believe in it, like your faith wins,
anything,
and that's great.
You
Or
always ask
challenging
questions
anything.
about everything.
Yeah. So I started challenging that pretty early in life, and asking a lot of questions. Like during those Catholic classes, I would ask so many hard questions to the instructors during those meetings and stuff like that. Like there was
The 15-year-olds when you were
well, no.
12.
They're all adults and stuff like that. And like the instructor, one guy was like one day there was a priest, and I asked him. I said, "Do you believe that this book written by human men is the Word of God?" And and it made this grown man look at me and be like, "Yeah, I do." And I'm like, "But it was written by men. It was amended by kings, like." To fit what they believe, like you believe that that's the Word of God. It's been passed down, so. Anyway, like I've always questioned it, and then I was.
Have you ever played the game Telephone?
I was always looking for a reason to be like, okay, I'm officially breaking off from religion. And then later on in time, when I was married, I got the opportunity. We got the opportunity to just kind of leave it when. Our church somehow found out that, well, no, people found out that when you're Catholic and you're getting married, let me back up a little bit. When you're Catholic and you're getting married, you have to have meetings with the priest, and the priest will ask you what your intentions are. Are your intentions to have children? Or your intentions to raise your children in the Catholic faith and stuff like that? And you have to attest and even sign like fucking documents saying that, like, because in order to be like have a Catholic wedding in the Catholic Church from that priest, you have to like attest that you are going to you're going to raise them Catholic.
Couldn't you have just lied and then like repented later?
Well, here's the thing: we were lying because we didn't. Maybe then at the time we felt like we were going to have kids, but there came a point where Megan and I were just like, okay, we're not going to have kids. We're not going to do it. We want to be child free. And then people around us started questioning us, and some people around the church were like, "You really shouldn't do that," trying to shame us essentially, and we're starting to get pissed off that it's not very Jesus-y for you to be shaming and judging us like this, right? So it was starting to hit Megan pretty hard. So a friend of the family, a real close friend for like a decade of the family, was a deacon at the church, an actual ordained deacon. And she emailed him a long email saying, look, this is the situation. We had certain intentions when we were first getting married, but then she was like, but we decided that we don't want to have kids, but we're getting a lot of like attitude from people and guilt from people, and my family's starting to say things like, what are your thoughts, like what are your feelings on this situation? She wrote this long email to this deacon who's seen her grow up since she was a kid, and he wrote essentially, your decision is wrong, and here's a excerpt from the Bible. Here's a bunch of excerpts from the Bible that prove, and the like Catholicism's doctrines about why it is wrong and why you should have kids, and why if without having kids, you attested to having kids, and your marriage is not valid. We've been married for like 5 years at the time. And he basically told her our marriage is not valid in the eyes of God. And we immediately left the church. immediately left the church. Never went again. And that was the moment where I was like, okay, well, the science versus religion part of me, I was already more along the science side of it. And then this was the bond that broke the religion side of it for me. So like the spiritualism and then the religious side of it, all that was broken in one fell swoop. Because I was offended that they said that our marriage wasn't valid. She was too, and then I already didn't really believe in the concept of God and stuff like that. So that was it. That was the harsh end, and ever since then, it's just been absolutely zero religion. Spiritually, I do believe in like pulling driving forces that, like, I don't know, like whether it's math or numbers or science. Like I do believe in there is a yin and yang, a polar north and polar south that's like drawing us.
A Ron Jeremy about it.
It's the Ronnie J effect is what we call it. So yeah, I do feel that there are some things like pulling us back and forth. Some sort of like spiritual compass. But yeah, that's pretty much it's a big deep story about how I feel about the concept of religion. It doesn't do anything for me. It's great if it does stuff for everybody. I think there's a place in the world. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying no one should do it. It's not my place to say you should have or not have faith in something.
Oh no, everybody has to believe in something.
I think there's a place for it. I think if wielded correctly and believed in the way it was meant to be, I think it's a great thing. I think it starts to suck when people use it to weaponize their personal beliefs and bend it to their arguments and stuff like that. That's when I think it starts getting a little hokey. But overall, yeah. I don't think it's bad.
My experience with religion and spirituality, I guess the question is, are you correct? Are you spiritual or religious?
That's correct, yeah. Are you religious or spiritual?
So when it comes to that, no, I'm not religious. Yes, I am spiritual. Religion, I was raised Baptist, and I grew up with a very diverse background of people. I moved, constantly during my childhood, and met a lot of different people, went to a lot of different types of churches, and at a very young age, I'm talking like 9, 10 years old, I started questioning a lot of stuff. At the time, it might have been weird that my parents were very, open about me just being exposed to everything. Everybody's like, oh, you shouldn't watch this or you shouldn't be part of this. But it was just like, hey, we want him to know. And I appreciate that now because I saw and was involved in a lot of things that people don't do or didn't get from, their parents or whatever the case may be. So like I said, I was raised Baptist. And then around that age, I started hanging out with my friends. So I was going to Catholic churches. I was going to Lutheran churches. I was going to Presbyterian. I had friends who went to, the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. I had friends whose aunts, uncles, grandparents, or whatever were Wiccan, and they were going to bonfires, and they're doing all these things. And I went and I experienced all this different religion all before the age of 13, 14 years old. Like I had already experienced over 24 different religions, and then I started really getting into it. And even when I went into college, I took comparative religion, I took religious history, I took all these extra classes that had no need for any of my majors, but I took them because it was always something I was very interested in, because religion is a very huge driving factor that has shaped our world and our culture and everything about our history.
For better or for worse.
Yes. Yeah, for better or worse. And so I've always studied it, and I came to the conclusion that organized religion to me is a crock of shit. Yes, please believe in something, believe in yourself, believe in an entity, believe in the world, believe in the universe, all these things. There is a driving factor. The different parts of the world, yes, have something in them. Can I explain it? Can I tell you what it is? No. Is it there? 100%, in my opinion. Do I think that a parental type figure created everything and made us in their image and tells us yes or no, and if we don't do good, we're gonna get spanked? No, I don't believe in that. Do I believe that shit goes around? I sure do. Things happen, and And good people have horrible things happen to them, and shitty people get the world sometimes. And that's just how life is. And we don't know what's going to happen to them after this, or if there is an after this, but believing in something while you're here, and the main goal of kind of, being a good individual, helping others, the doing to others as you would, have others doing to you. That's one of those sacred things, but it goes beyond that. It's do unto others as they would want somebody to do unto them. Understanding that each person is an individual. You don't do as you would want somebody to do to you. You do what they would like done to them. You don't treat them how you want to be treated. You should treat them how they want to be treated. That's what you want. Everybody's their own individual, and being able to realize that everybody thinks differently, feels differently, was raised differently, has a different history, has different goals, different lives, and realizing that everybody's their own individual, and kind of getting into like that mindset of being able to accept. I think it's all about acceptance and living as one. That's the unity that the world needs. So that's my take on it. So
Yeah, well said.
I'm spiritual. I believe in it. Religion, not so much. I think that's kind of a waste of time and a sideshow.
So deeper sub question. To you, what is heaven? If heaven is as a concept is a thing, what do you think it is?
I don't actually believe that there is a afterlife. I think that once you're done, you're done. That's it. You're dead. You are literally just going back into the earth as fertilizer. And unfortunately, hey, that's it. I mean, don't try to have a grand gesture about what your life is or how important you are, because you're not. And that's it. I mean, get over it. I mean, in my opinion.
I will tell you what heaven is. Yeah, on a scientific level, I believe exactly the way you feel, scientifically, physically. I think it all comes back to we come from the earth. We will all eventually go back to it. The circle of life that is there, it exists, it is a thing, and I'm with you. So I think, to me, heaven is something that we don't experience. In Hamilton, it's planting the seeds in the garden that you'll never see. It's how you live on after, right? It's supposed to be the afterlife, and that's what you're remembered by. Whether it's the people you leave behind who will remember you and love you and miss you and care for you, and the stories that they tell of you, and they'll tell their children and so on. I think that legacy is the closest we have to heaven, and some people have a greater experience with it, not necessarily an experience that they share that they will see in front of their faces, but I mean some people do. Some people are lucky enough to actually see what will be left in their name, but some don't, and some like William Shakespeare.
Some people see what will be left in their name,
and it's not good. And it's not very good. Going back to Ron Jeremy again, like Ron Jeremy just keeps on coming back. So that's interesting. I think it's an interesting concept about the afterlife, and I think that's as close as we can get as to people remembering you.